It's, oh my gosh, this guy is amazing and so much fun to work with. He is the managing director at Shift from Virginia. Put your hands together for Jeff Lesher.
I'm happy to be out from that hallway. I'm a little claustrophobic, and it was like being born with the world's biggest twin. So standing behind that. So give me a moment to decompress. And I'm not a real doctor, but I'm also not an idiot. No, I'm not a doctor. My pants are poop-free, however. And I'm not technically an entrepreneur, at least anymore. So Yannick got that slightly wrong, but that's okay. What my job is I'm essentially a Sherpa for entrepreneurs. I help them achieve great heights without killing themselves. And that's not the world's easiest thing to do. So think about it this way. I help people make good decisions, execute them, and get to places that they want to go. Which means that I probably have about 150 prospective clients in here because for some reason, all of you, knowing what you know, chose to gather together as a large group in cramped quarters, sitting next to somebody who might snort laugh, expelling droplets of God knows what all over your table. I'm just saying that beer may not be the only Corona that you get here tonight. Thank you. It does, though, provide me with a great analogy, which is an awesome learning tool, something that I use a lot. People learn through analogy. So the analogy is that sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. And the simplest solution for protecting ourselves and others from this coronavirus is what? Washing our hands. Washing our hands. It's a great analogy. The simplest solution might be the best one. And oh, by the way, it's great advice. Wash your fucking hands. You people are disgusting. Which brings me to the second part of my expertise, which is not just making a good decision to wash your hands, but to be able to execute it effectively. And it's not as easy as it sounds. Entrepreneurs like to say, oh yeah, I got it, and then they run headlong into a brick wall. And the brick wall is something like this. They go into a bathroom. This is a metaphor, but it's an apt one. And I've checked this one out 4 or 5 times. My daughter will be happy to know. And you have to see, does it have a hand dryer or paper towels? Does a paper towel machine motion censored, or do you have to touch a handle? Does it have this weird wind-up that takes the paper all the way in so that in order to get it out after you wash your hands, you have to touch the place that somebody else touched, and you don't know what the hell they did. And all I'm saying is by the time you finally figure out a way to get back out of the bathroom without touching anything after you wash your hands that somebody else had touched, you're really stressed out. And as it happens, stress makes you more vulnerable to the fucking coronavirus. So since you decided to come here anyway and put yourself at great risk, you can at least take advantage of lowering your stress level by enjoying a good laugh or two. I, on the other hand, decided to pick tonight to do stand-up for the first time. Now, I heard that stand-up is like taking ideas that you think are funny in your head and then saying them out loud in a room full of people who aren't your friends. Saying things that sound good in your head out loud in front of a room full of people. Or at Cadre, what we call being Derek. Yeah, how's that one taste? And really, I bring this up for a good reason, because I just want to correct something that Derek says in public a lot. which is wrong and really bothers me. Now, I know that you're thinking that I could spend the entire evening talking about things, but I digress. The specific item is in regards to his amazing wife, Melanie. And he says, Melanie, sort of says it like this, Melanie is my better half. And that's just wildly inaccurate. Melanie is his better 99%. And that's if you don't round up. So I do have good news on the corona front. It was 73 degrees today. Yeah, 73 degrees. So the White House has declared spring here, and the virus will soon be over. So let's give it up to the end of coronavirus. But for God's sake, don't clap. You'll make this shit airborne. It's spring. I always have to know what the temperature is because my wife asks me, honey, what's it like outside? I've been married for almost 31 years, and so I not only give her the answer, I go into full weatherman mode. You know, thanks for asking. We've got a great warm front moving through from the west with a light breeze from the south, and we're going to have an awesome weekend. Full moon tonight. Check it out. It's the supermoon. When if I wanted to be divorced, I could have just said, you know, honey, there's an app on your phone if you just... It'll tell you that. But Derek is not the only person who says stuff out loud that sounds pretty wild. I work with a lot of people who say stuff out loud that sounds pretty wild all the time, and then they look at me, Jeff, talk some sense into me, please. They're begging me with their eyes, and one of them is about living to be 140 years old. Now, I think part of the problem is that many of these people want to live to be 140 or barely 40. But there also are several things wrong with this premise, that just because you could do something, should you? Like, would you want to go through the process to get there? Right? Is it worth it? Like, I understand making your life a living hell for no reason. I'm Jewish. But why? So let's just break this down, the whole 140 thing. So first of all, there's the diet part. We need to eat like cave people. Well, let me just fill you in on a fact. Cave people died by the time they were 30. That's number one. Number two is, in order to eat like a cave person, you can't eat fucking bread. And I love bread. All of you people are putting butter in your coffee. Put it on your bread. You know, at work I have to be a lot nicer before I say fuck, so thank you for letting me get right to that. But so I understand for many of you bread is a trigger word because you're carbophobic, so I do have good, soothing news, which is there's a great recipe for carb-free bread out there, but there's a really important thing you have to remember to do after you bake it, which is to cool the loaf upside down. And this is so that the loaf will not collapse. Now, as a Jew in particular, this got me to thinking, you know, thousands of years ago, Jews fled slavery in Egypt and were sustained for 40 years in the desert by unrisen bread called matzah, the driest substance known to man. Try eating that in the desert for 40 years without a ready supply of water, and you'll understand my connection to making your life a living hell for no reason. But we have made such progress. We've gone from escaping slavery by inventing unleavened bread to inventing bread that won't stay risen in order to escape a few carbohydrates. Progress. I thought that was very funny, but give that some thought. And you're going to laugh later, and you're going to be sorry. You're going to be sorry that you didn't give me a better laugh right then. Well, that's okay. So now, let's assume you figure out the diet thing. Then we have the body thing. The body was not designed to last to be 140. So your brilliant solution is to use artificial intelligence and robotics in order to survive, essentially becoming a computer chip in a skin sleeve. Okay? And I got a preview of what this might look like recently when my wife and I took our daughter to Disney World, ostensibly to celebrate her graduation from college, not elementary school. And she did, I'm glad to say, have a good time searching for her lost childhood, something I understand we truncated, although you could have fooled me. But everybody asked me, well, did you have a good time? And they knew the answer was no. But I'm not really a one-word answer person, so this was my answer. Yeah, for me, it was like 3.5 days of being locked in a dialysis clinic run by Cracker Barrel. A comfort food restaurant with wall-to-wall tchotchkes being served and sold to high insulin-resistant people riding around on rascal scooters. So imagine your life as an AI robotics freak show where the good news is you no longer have to Google your ailment on WebMD, you can just call the Geek Squad. But of course you'll have to cancel your golf game because you'll need to be home during that 4-hour window when Comcast comes by to reboot your kidneys. So now we've solved the diet and the body piece. Now let's think about the external world. What is the world going to be like? I mean, this planet is hanging on by a thread right now. And you're projecting 90 years into the future. Looking towards, I'm sorry, I'm just telling you the truth here. Global warming, climate change, whatever you want to call it, this will be a world literally on fire that you're living in. So keep up your payments to the cryotherapy place because you're going to need to jump in that tank for a whole different reason. But I don't want to finish before assailing at least two of my brothers. When it comes to escaping hell on earth, they are masters. These people are so socially awkward that, this is true, they're so socially awkward that they don't feel uncomfortable. They make everybody around them feel uncomfortable. That's raising it to an art form. And then they hide within their versions of some pretty extreme religions. Now, I'm not hating on religion, but one of my brothers is a miracle believer. Miracles will take care of this or that. He doesn't actually have to do anything about it. And he's gotten 2 women to agree to marry him, so I believe in miracles too. But it just seems like an escapist form of living one's life. And I do need to note as well that his first wife, after their divorce, felt so much acrimony towards him that she not only dropped his last name, she changed her ethnicity. This is actually true. She is a white Protestant-born woman who decided that she and her children were descendants from medieval Spanish Jews, and she changed her name from Howard to Martinez. So, true story and the height of escapism, which brings me to my other older brother, who is an Orthodox Jew. And if you want to live your life full of complication in order to not have to deal with your reality, become an Orthodox Jew. These people have 613 laws to observe just to live their regular life, most of which have to do with food, because Jews are food obsessed, which is really weird because most Jewish food is either boiled or fried. Or if you were raised by a Southern Jewish mother like I was, it's boiled first and then fried. But among these 613 laws involve wine. Like, you would think wine, that's safe. Like, why would you even at any point in history have a rule about wine? But Jews are so exacting that we not only have one kind of kosher wine, we have 2. Because you need to have one that can be served by pagans. This is true. So for all the pagans out there, the next time you're looking to party down with some Hasidic Jews, I want to make sure that you buy the right kind of wine. It's called mavushal. And mavushal literally means cooked. So in my quest to help you, make better decisions, execute them, and get to a place that you really want. Consider your options while taking your finest bottle of wine out of your wine cooler, pouring it in, Barry Glassman's out here somewhere, decanting that sucker, pouring it into the appropriate glass, then stick it in the microwave for a couple of minutes, take it out, drink it, and let us all to life say, L'chaim!
L'chaim!